And on a breakout, they usually pullbacks will be bought first time. So this is a pullback, this is the breakout. This is your first time pullback right here. And then now we're currently in the second pullback. So as we get, and you can see that right out of the gate. Here was the jam, bang, 48 target achieved. We get the little slop, and then we said be very careful because right now we also have, we've got two breakouts, right? This was last year's high breakout. And so that's the hidden pivot that allowed us to get that second squeeze. And some traders, you know, look to short that 51.5. Kind of don't do anything. They hope they get it there, and then we'll give it a shot. It's a valid trade, but if you're going to do that because that's what you think it's going to do, then you're better off keeping your trailer or rebuying. And each rebuy, I said, needs to stand on its own. So if, let's just say that your primary target was 48 to 48.5 in there, which we said we thought would be where we were headed. Then when this comes back here, if you have either a trailer or rebuy, that rebuy and that trailer need to stand on its own. So let's say it just went up a point and then it came back through. And you never want to let a trade like this bleed back on you more than a point. You're risking a point to make 4 or 5, going with the trend to see if T2 cannot be achieved. And T2 is always harder to get than T1. But this is the type of trading that if you get skillful at it, in terms of understanding that this is a legitimate breakout, because it was last year's high, and the gap, it doesn't have to stop right here and bleed right back through and come down here. Some traders are hoping. So before we even think about this area back here, this 44 breakout, we have to contend with this first. And that's why I said I think it's easier today just to buy the pullback than it is to try to get fancy and short. And we have, by my estimation, reached what I would consider to be the lion's share of the gains. So you don't have to short, you don't have to go long. You made a good trade. All you need to do really is collect your profits and go sideline. And if you have had it in here, and every time you make a new high, you want to make sure that you are getting paid for that push. Because we could certainly, megaphone is completed, and we don't have to come flying back. My guess is there's probably going to be some choppy time spent here, but the wind is still at the back of the longs. Maybe later get a little profit taking. So I think both sides need to be conservative at this level, but the wind is blowing at the backs of the longs, and much harder to, in my opinion anyways, to assume that it will be easy scalping short. You need to wait for a solid contra time, and usually after 11 o'clock could be the first contra time, and then into lunch. So if we get a slight pullback now, then I'd expect into lunch we'll get a push. And when we, come out smoking the first day of the week and we get the trade we want, you're already in protect profit mode. That's the way I look at it. You're going to risk small. So we're going to trade a small box. So until broken, this guy right here is the squeeze pivot now. Nothing good will happen for the shorts until they break that squeeze pivot. And if this pivot holds true, that pivot is for attempting to get back up and test that 57 to 58 zone. That clearly is a potential dynamic we've talked about now for a while. So protect profit mode. Anybody that's shorting, think of it as a contra only. And the only way that the shorts really start to undo today, in my opinion, obviously this 44. This is the big breakout right now, and we will get these things retested. The question is when. You know, this guy's been hanging tough. So you can get a pullback below it, but I would think anything that came back here would be immediately gobbled up for a bounce. And it's a nice way to start the week.